Good morning, everyone. My name is Jomer B. Cabagua, and what I'm going to report is understanding the time value of money. But first, let me illustrate the topics in Chapter 18. In this chapter, you will understand more the understanding the time value of money, calculating the loan payment, building a loan amortization schedule, calculating the term of the loan, calculating the interest rate required for a loan, calculating how much you can borrow, working with mortgages. So first, let me discuss the building loan formulas. So Excel is loaded with financial features that gives you a powerful tools for building models that manage both business and personal finances. You can use this function to calculate such thing as the monthly payment on a loan, the future value of annuity, the internal rate of return of an investment, or the yearly depreciation of an asset. The final 3 chapters of this book cover this and many other uses for Excel financial formulas. This chapter begins with formulas and functions related to loans and mortgages. You'll learn about the time value of money, how to calculate loan payment, loan periods, the principal and interest components of a payment, and the interest rate, and how to build an amortization schedule. So let's discuss the understanding the time value of money. So the time value of money means that a dollar in hand now is worth more than a dollar promised at some future date. So yung dollar na hawak ko ngayon on hand is mas malaki na yung worth niya in the near future at some future date. So this seemingly simple idea underlines not only the concept and techniques you learn in this chapter, but also the investment formulas in Chapter 19, building investment formulas, and discount formulas in Chapter 20, building discount formulas. A dollar now is worth more than a dollar promised in the future for 2 reasons. So yung dollar ko ngayon is pwede nang mas maging malaki yung amount niya in the near future for 2 reasons. First is you can invest a dollar now if you earn a positive return. So, if you are investing, dapat maging wise decision maker ka or maging good investor ka. Dahil nga, in investing money, you must have profit. You must be earning profit. That is the importance of investing. So, if you are investing, you must first have a proper research sa company before ka mag-invest ng pera mo. Kasi nga, iiwanan mo yung pera mo dun. Kumbaga, kapag iniwan mo yung pera mo dun, dapat yung pera mo nagfa-function or kumikita yan ng pera at kumikita yan ng interest. Monthly man yan or yearly basis. Because that is the important of investing, which is connected din siya sa understanding the time value of money. So, the sum of the dollar and interest earned will be worth more than the future dollar. So, if you are a good investor, na-research mo yan, yung company na yun is maganda siya, maganda yung parang positive outcome niya sa mga previous investors niya. So, kapag nag-invest ka dun, yung fruit of success, ma-achieve mo. Yung pera mo, lalago. Ganon yun. If nakapili ka ng certain company na merong good investment na magpapalago ng pera mo. Yun naman talaga ang essence ng investing eh. If you are investing, dapat kumikita yung pera mo. So, you might never see the future dollar. So, may certain possibilities din na hindi mo na makikita yung pera mo or mawawala yung pera mo if you are not a good investor. So, in investing, you must decide firmly because deciding firmly is the essence and important in investing. So, dapat wise decision maker ka dito at may proper research ka muna sa company bago ka mag-invest. Kasi nga, merong certain possibilities na kapag nag-invest ka, mawala yung pera mo pag nalugi yung company. Maraming ganyan na certain possibilities. For example, sa stock market, nag-invest ka sa stock market, aggressive yung pinag-investan mo. Tapos, you are expecting na malaki yung kita mo. Pero mataas yung risk doon kasi nga aggressive. So ngayon, biglang bumaba ngayon yung market value niya. So, nawala yung pera mo. Biglang na-boom yung investment mo. So, kumbaga, yung shares mo doon na binili mo, for example, bumili ka doon ng 10,000 shares, yung binili mo doon, naging zero yung amount niya. Dahil nga naging ganon. So, mawawala yun ng bigla nang hindi mo na namamalayan. So, due to bankruptcy purposes yun din. Pwedeng due to bankruptcy purposes. Pero dun sa sinabi kong example, pwedeng mangyari yun sa'yo if you are not thinking firmly sa pagde-decide mo sa pinag-e-investan mo. wherein pwede rin na due bankruptcy purposes, wherein, for example, nag-invest ka sa company na ito, tapos yung company na yon is nag-bankrupt siya. Ngayon, kung na-bankrupt siya, yung perang in-invest mo ron, may certain possibility na hindi niya na maibalik yun ng buo or kulang na yung maibalik sa'yo, wherein nalugi ka pa or wala ka ng pera mismo. Kasi nga, na-bankrupt yung company eh. Kapag na-bankrupt yan, anong ipangbabayad sa'yo, di ba? Ibig sabihin, insolvent na yung may-ari. Unavailable to pay na. It depends na lang yun kung may ka-partnership siya dun sa business niya, dun sa company or corporation man yan. It depends yun sa situation. So, pwede rin cash flow problems wherein kapag sa cash flow problems naman, ang ina-identify nito is kapag yung problema mismo is sa cash flow problems wherein kapag mas malaki ba yung expenses ng company kaysa sa profit niya, malaki yung gastos every project ng company na yan, tapos yung kinikita naman is konti lang, wherein pwede ka rin malugi doon at pwede rin bumaba yung amount ng pera mo na in-invest mo doon dahil nga hindi ito kumikita. Invest na nadadagdagan ito, nababawasan pa ito. Yun. So, or any number of reasons or maraming rason. Kasi nga, there is a risk that the company or a person promising you the future dollar might not able to deliver it. So, ibig sabihin, yung prinamis niya sa'yo na malaki yung kita, pwede niya nang hindi ma-deliver yun sa'yo. Kumbaga, wala ka na. So, dyan na pumapasok yung scamming. Kumbaga, if may bagong company, ang example nito is mga MLM company. Yung mga MLM company na yan is mag-i-introduce sila sa'yo ng product, hikayatin ka na maging seller nila, sales agent sila, pero invite yan eh. Parang tree yan. Kung sino yung pinakauna, siya yung unang kumikita. For example, siya yung si John is yung nagsimula ng company. Tapos nagsimula ngayon siya ng company. Tapos sa product niya, mag-i-invite siya ng mga members. So parang yung market target nila is inviting members na lang. So paano na lang kaya yung parang nasa pinakababa na ng tree chain na yan? Wala silang kinikita. Kumbaga, kung wala kang kinikita is wala yung pera mo. Sablay yung investment mo. So, ang example ng kadalasan na scam is scam na sa mga investment, na yung parang investment na kikita ka dito, kikita ka sa ganyan. Sweet talks lang yung mga yan, pero hindi ko sinasuggest na mag-invest sa mga MLM company. Example lang yun. Example yun, si John, for example, doon nag-start siya ng company. So, kung sino yung mga una nang niya na-invite, yung mga leaders na yan, yung mga core leaders na pinili niya, yun lang yung mga kumikita. Yung mga late na nai-invite, hindi sila kumikita. Pero I'm not against MLM company. Pero, parang kawawa lang yung mga nasa baba. Kasi nga, parang ang ine-aim ng mga MLM company na yan is kung mas kumita yung mga nasa taas. Although, sinasabi nila na dapat kikita lahat yan that invite. So, kung nag-in-invite ka nila, na-scam ka. Tapos kung nag-invite ka pa ng iba, na-scam mo din yung iba. Kasi nga, ganun yung kalakaran sa business na yun. Example lang po yun. So, let's proceed na. So, these two factors is interest and risk. So, meron nga siyang interest na dapat mong ini-interest dun sa investment mo at may risk din siya. Depende yan sa risk kung gaanong klaseng risk yan, kung mabigat ba na risk yan. Yun yung are at the heart of most financial formulas and models. Or more realistically, these factors really mean that you're mostly comparing the benefits of investing $1 now versus getting $1 in the near future plus some risk premium. An amount that compensate for the risk you're taking in waiting for the dollar to be delivered. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, kino-compare mo yung benefits ng investment mo ngayon, yung in-invest mong pera ngayon, versus dun sa makikita mong benefits mo sa future, plus yung risk premium na tinake mo if you are a risk taker. So, ang suggest ko dito, pag nag-i-invest kayo sa mga, for example, sa mga stocks, sa mga shares na yan, sa mga bonds na yan, if you are investing about dyan, huwag kayong mag-invest dun sa malaki agad. Dapat mag-research muna kayo. It depends kasi yan eh. It depends yan. Hindi mo masasabing mataas lagi yung value ng shares or yung bonds na yan kasi there's a certain possibility na biglang bababa yan. So dapat dito, pag-aralan mo muna ng mabuti kung paano ka mag-trade because trading industries is malawak. Yung mga traders na yan, malawak yan pag nag-trade ka ng, for example, sa mga stocks, sa shares, sa mga crypto, yan. So dapat wais ka or magaling ka mag-decide regarding that para maiwasan nga yung negative risk wherein malulugi ka. So, you compare this by looking at the present value. By looking at the present value, the amount something worth now. So, yung amount ng something na pera na meron ka na ngayon and the future value wherein the amount something is worth in the future, wherein ito yung amount ng pera mo in the near future. They're related as follows. So yung future value equals present value plus interest. So yung present value ng pera mo plus interest yan. Kasi laging may interest yan. It depends yan kung monthly basis or yearly basis. It depends din kung ilan yung interest rate mo dyan. So B naman, paano naman yung present value? Equals future value less discount. So, yung future value mo, ibabawas mo yung discount rate. Kasi nga, mababawasan din yung mga future value na yan kasi may mga discount, etc. pa yan na something. So, much financial analysis boils down to comparing these formulas. If the present value in A is greater than the present value in B, A is the better investment. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, if si A is, ang investment niya is 100,000, tapos si B naman ay may investment siya ng 50,000, mas malaki yung investment ni A at mas better yung investment niya. Conversely, if the future value of B is better than the future value in A, B is the better investment. So, kung yung future value ni B is naging 300,000, tapos yung future value ni A is naging 100,000, therefore, mas malaki yung future value ni B, kaya mas better investment si B kaysa kay A. Yun ang ibig sabihin nito. So, most of the formulas you'll work with over the next 3 chapters will involve these 3 factors. The present value, the future value, and the interest rate or the discount rate plus 2 related factors wherein yung the periods, the number of payments or deposit over the term of the loan or investment, in the payment, the amount of money paid out or invested in each period. So, when building your financial formulas, you need to ask yourself the following question. So, who? Para kanino ba ito? Or what is the subject of the formula? So, ano nga ba yung subject ng formula? On mortgage analysis ba? On mortgage analysis ba yon? Or in business analysis? Or in something? Etc. Kung anong klase man yan. So, for example, are you performing the analysis on behalf of yourself or sa bangko mismo? Sa sarili mo ba or sa bangko mismo? Which way is the money flowing with respect to subject? For the present value, future value, and payment, enter that the subject receives as a positive quantity and enter that the subject pays out as a negative quantity. For example, if you're the subject of a mortgage analysis, the loan principal or yung the present value is positive number because it's the money that you receive from the bank. So for example, kapag ikaw ay nag-loan sa bangko, yung perang marireceive mo sa bangko is positive quantity yan kasi naka-receive ka ng pera. Tapos, the payment and the remaining principal or yung future value ng babayaran mo kasi nga may interest yung babayaran mo ng bangko is negative because there are the amounts na kailangan mong bayaran sa bangko. So, what is the time unit? The underlying unit of both interest rate and the period must be the same. Yung underlying ng interest rate and period ay dapat same yan. For example, if you're working with annual interest rate, you must express the period in years. Years dapat to. Years dapat or yearly. Similarly, if you're working with monthly period, you must use monthly interest rate. Pag monthly periods, monthly interest rate din dapat yan. So, when are the payments made? Excel differentiates between payments made at the end of each period and those made at the beginning.
Good day everyone, my name is Jayden C. De La Cruz and I will be discussing on how to calculate the loan payments. So let us know first what is a loan payment. A loan payment is the amount of money you are required to pay periodically to the lender to repay the principal amount borrowed and the interest accrued on the principal. So let us know what is principal. Principal is the original amount of money borrowed. The interest is the fee charged by the lender for the use of their money. Loan payment is the periodic payment that includes both a portion of the principal and the interest accrued on the outstanding balance. So let's proceed on how to calculate loan payments. We'll typically use a formula that considers the loan amount, the interest rate, and the loan term. To calculate the monthly interest rate, We need to divide the annual interest rate by 100, then divide that by 12. 12 is the number of months in a year. For example, if the annual interest rate is 7.5, the monthly interest rate would be 7.5 divided by 100 divided by 12, and we will get the interest rate of 0.00625. Next is, we will calculate the total number of payments. We need to multiply the number of payments per year, usually 12 for monthly payments, by the loan term in years. So if the loan term is 5 years, we need to multiply it by 12. So 12 times 5 equals to 60. And the number of payment is 60. So let's use the loan payment formula, where M stands for the monthly payment, P is the loan amount, I is the monthly interest, and N is the total payments. I have here the example calculation. Let's say we have a loan of 45,000, which is the P, an annual interest rate of 7.5, and a loan term of 5 years. Monthly interest rate is 0.00625. The total number of payments is 60. Here 60. M is equals to 45,000 times 0.00625 times 1 plus 0.00625 times 60 divided by 1 plus 0.00625 times 60 minus 1, we will get a monthly payment of 842.61. That's all on how you calculate the loan payments.
So now let's talk about loan payment analysis. So financial formulas rarely use hard-coded function argument. Instead, they better off placing the argument of values and separate cells and then referring to those cells in the formula, which this enable you to do the rudimentary form of loan analysis by plugging in the different argument of values and seeing the effect they have on the formula result. It only say here that it's better on placing the argument values in the separate cell so that only refer or plug in that cell to compute the formula. Let me show you an example of worksheet that perform such an analysis. So let's go in the Excel. So as you can see, we separate the interest rate, number of payment, loan principal in a different cells. So in the function argument for interest rate is on the cell B1, which is in the column B and in the row of 1. And then the number of payment is in the B2 and the loan principal is in the B3. So now let's see why it's better placing this function argument in the different cell or in a separate cell by computing the monthly payment. So when you separate this cell, you can easily refer those cells when it comes on computing the monthly payment using our formula. For example, equals PMT. They are asking for rate. So refer the cell of the rate. So click the B1, which is the 6%. And then this rate is an annual rate. So we need to divide it into 12 to get the rate for monthly payment. And then the next one, they are asking for NPER or the number of payment. So click the cell for the number of payment. So which is in the B2. And then this is 5 years. And again, we're only asking for monthly payment. So we need to times it into 12 because 1 year is equivalent for 12 months. And then the next one is the PV or the loan principal, which is in the B3. And then close parentheses, to get the answer of 193.33 monthly payment. So when you're asking why the PMT function result return a negative value, which is correct because this worksheet is set up from the point of view of person receiving the loan and the payment is money that flow away from that person. But if you are the creditor and you receive the money, just insert the negative sign to have the positive value.
So, good day everyone. I am Bianca Bernal, and what I will be discussing for today is working with a balloon loan. So, before we calculate sa Excel itong kind of payment, itong balloon loan na to, didiscuss ko muna siya ng very short lang naman para magkaroon tayo ng idea if ano itong balloon loan na to. First, we will read the first paragraph. So, many loans are set up so that the payments take care of only a portion of the principal, with the remainder due as an end-of-loan balloon payment. So, ibig sabihin dito sa remainder due as an end-of-loan balloon payment, ibig sabihin meron ka pang malaking balance na kailangan mong bayaran at the end of the reporting period or yung due date na, yung as in pinaka-last na. Kasi, di ba, kunwari meron kang utang, so installment basis siya, monthly kang naguhulog kada buwan, pero at the end of the reporting period, meron ka pa rin balance na malaki, which is, ang tawag dun is balloon payment. So, this balloon payment is the future value of the loan. So, you need to factor it into the PMT, which is yan yung gagamitin natin sa Excel mamaya on how to compute the monthly payment. Function as the FV argument. So, dito na tayo kasi madali lang naman na yan. So, each payment in a balloon loan has three components. So, first, i-pay down of the partial principal. Second is the interest on the partial principal. And then last is the interest on the balloon portion of the principal. So ayan lang naman yung ibig sabihin ng balloon loan. So, meron ka ng idea, di ba? Madali lang siya. And then, madali lang din siyang i-compute sa Excel. Paano siya mako-compute. So, we have here the sample illustration. Ayan. Ginawa ko na siya actually. Pero, gawin natin ulit para maintindihan mo. So, kunwari we have here, ang principal na inutang niya is 5K. Ang interest rate niya annually is 8%. And then, ang period or years is 4 years. And then, we have here the balloon payment, 1K. So, on how to compute the monthly payment, ang gagamitin lang nating formula dito is yung PMT, which is yung nabanggit ko kanina. So, una, ayun, nakalagay dito, rate and per, PV, FBN, yan. So, first is the interest rate. So, yung interest rate na yan, i-divide mo siya sa 12 months. Ayan. And then, comma, kukunin din natin yung years. Ayan, i-divide natin siya sa 12 months para makita natin kung ilan yung interest niya per month. Ayan, para makita natin yung interest niya per month. And then next is yung years naman. Ita-times natin siya sa 12 months rin. And then, comma, kukunin din natin yung principal. And then, comma ulit. And then, last is maglalagay tayo ng negative dito for the balloon payment. Kasi nga, ayan yung babayaran natin at the end of the reporting period. Yung pinakalas na talaga, yan na yung babayaran sa pinakalas. So, yan. Tingnan natin total. Boom. Yun. Ganyan lang. Ganyan lang on how to compute the monthly payment. Kapag meron kang balloon payment na babayaran sa pinakalas na due date mo. Magbigay pa tayo example para magets nyo. Kunwari, 6% interest. Lakihan natin. 5 years. And then, ang principal na inutang mo is 10,000. And then, yung balloon payment na babayaran mo sa pinaka-due date is 3,000. Tignan natin ang lalabas. So, ayan yung monthly payment niya, $150.33. So, ganun lang. Ganun lang kung paano mo siya, ganun lang kung paano mo makukompute yung monthly payment mo if you have the balloon payment na kailangan mong bayaran at the end of the reporting period. So, yun lang. Sana gets nyo. So, ang next topic natin is calculating interest cost, part 1. So, kapag alam na natin yung monthly payment, pwede na nating makuha yung total interest cost by subtracting the principal dun sa nakuha nating amount. Yan. So, dito sa kabilang part ng screen, makikita nyo na may na-prepared na akong example. So, dito, nakuha na natin yung ating monthly payment. Kaya siya naging positive yung result niya. Dinagdagan ko lang siya ng negative dito sa ating function para maging positive yung result. And then to get the total payments, wait lang. To get the total payments, multiply lang natin tong monthly payment sa monthly periods. So, paano natin makukuha yung monthly periods natin? Multiply lang natin tong periods natin sa 12 to get the monthly periods. Then that's it. Nakuha na natin yung total payments. So, after makalculate natin yung total payments, ilalas lang natin ito sa ating principal. Less ating principal to get the total interest cost and yan. So, nakikita nyo naman na sa screen na nakuha na natin yung total interest cost. So, paano naman kapag meron tayong balloon payments? Let's just say, meron tayong 3,000 na balloon payment. Yan. 3,000 tayong balloon payment. And itong monthly payment natin is dadagdagan lang natin yung function niya. Dito sa dulo ng B4 ng ating function, ilalas lang natin dyan yung ating balloon payment para makuha natin yung bagong monthly payment. Yan. And then to calculate the total payment, same lang siya sa ating example na nauna. The times lang natin yung monthly payment sa monthly periods. Times 12 and then enter. Tsaka, para makuha yung total interest cost, ililess lang natin yung total payments sa principal. Ganun lang kadali kunin yung ating total interest cost. So, I hope na natutunan nyo na kung paano kunin yung total interest cost using the PMT function for the monthly payment and then total payments and then total interest cost. So, ang next topic natin is calculating interest cost, part 1. So, kapag alam na natin yung monthly payment, pwede na nating makuha yung total interest cost by subtracting the principal dun sa nakuha nating amount. Yan. So, dito sa kabilang part ng screen, makikita nyo na may na-prepared na akong example. So, dito, nakuha na natin yung ating monthly payment. Kaya siya naging positive yung result niya. Dinagdagan ko lang siya ng negative dito sa ating function para maging positive yung result. And then to get the total payments, wait lang. To get the total payments, multiply lang natin tong monthly payment sa monthly periods. So, paano natin makukuha yung monthly periods natin? Multiply lang natin tong periods natin sa 12 to get the monthly periods. Then that's it. Nakuha na natin yung total payments. So, after makalculate natin yung total payments, ilalas lang natin ito sa ating principal. Less ating principal to get the total interest cost and yan. So, nakikita nyo naman na sa screen na nakuha na natin yung total interest cost. So, paano naman kapag meron tayong balloon payments? Let's just say, meron tayong 3,000 na balloon payment. Yan. 3,000 tayong balloon payment. And itong monthly payment natin is dadagdagan lang natin yung function niya. Dito sa dulo ng B4 ng ating function, ilalas lang natin dyan yung ating balloon payment para makuha natin yung bagong monthly payment. Yan. And then to calculate the total payment, same lang siya sa ating example na nauna. The times lang natin yung monthly payment sa monthly periods. Times 12 and then enter. Tsaka, para makuha yung total interest cost, ililess lang natin yung total payments sa principal. Ganun lang kadali kunin yung ating total interest cost. So, I hope na natutunan nyo na kung paano kunin yung total interest cost using the PMT function for the monthly payment and then total payments and then total interest cost.
So dito naman tayo sa may calculating the principal and interest. Any loan payment has two components. We have principal and interest. Interest charge are almost always front-loaded. Means that the interest component is highest at the beginning of the loan and gradually decreases with each payment. This means, conversely, that the principal component increases gradually with each payment. Meaning, inverse yung relationship between the principal repayment and the interest charge. Kapag tumataas yung principal repayment, bumababa naman yung na interest na nai-incur. So to calculate the principal, we have the formula PPMP, stands for payment on the principal based on a given period. So kapag nasa Excel na siya, yung formula niyo, lagyan natin ng equal sign, tapos PPMT, and yan. Open parenthesis, rate, monthly rate, semi-annual rate, or annual rate. Yung gagamitin. Depende kung ano yung component ng loan. And kung anong period siya binayaran. First period, first month, ganun. And or the number of period, kung ano yung total, period, kung ilang beses siyang dapat bayaran NPV or kung ilan yung total amount ng loan. or the principal amount. While sa interest charge naman, same lang siya. Babaguhin lang yung I sa una. IPMT stands for interest on the principal based on the given period. So let's have an example. Tayo sa may Excel. So dito, meron tayong example, loan payment analysis calculating principal and interest. So amount is 50,000 and period 5 years. 5 years. Tapos rate annually 6% and monthly payment 966.64 and monthly rate is 0.005. Monthly rate is computed as nating equal sign, then yung rate annually divide natin siya sa 12. So ganyan siya nakuha. And ngayon, kumputin naman natin si principal. So dito, meron tayong amount na 50,000. 8,000, 5 years, 6%, and monthly rate na 0.005. So ano nga ulit yung formula natin? Dito, mag-example tayo dito. So first month, tignan natin kung makuha natin yung 716.64. First month yung computin natin. Equal sign muna tayo. Then, PPMP, open parenthesis. Have rate first. Yeah. Tapos quit. Then, ipindot natin tong first month. Ito yun. Pero dito ko na pinindot para makita natin yung kakaiba or pagkakapareho. Then, quit ulit tayo. Yung period. Yung period, i-times natin siya sa 12. Since monthly yung payment. Then, quit ulit tayo. Tapos, yung principal amount or the 50. Close parenthesis. Enter natin. So as you can see, nag-negative yung amount. Yung technique lang dito para hindi siya mag-negative, lagyan lang natin ng negative sign after nung equal sign. So yun. Ganun lang siya. So same ba? 716.64 yung nakuha. Yes. Same lang siya. Lipat natin siya dito sa baba. Ganun lang yung process. Equal sign, negative sign, PMP. So it doesn't matter kung naka lowercase or uppercase yung PPMT mo. Tapos, monthly rate, quit, first month, quit. Tapos, period, times 12, quit, then the 50,000. Close parenthesis, yes, 716.64 yung. Sa interest naman, ganun lang din yung gagawin. Pero yung formula sa kanya is IPMT. Since interest charge yung hinahanap natin. So, equal sign tayo dyan, meron na pala. The negative sign, IPMT, then parenthesis, monthly rate, quit natin, first month, then dito naman tayo sa period, times 12. So, 5 times 12 is equal to 60, di ba? Dapat hanggang 60, total repayments tayo. Yan, ganyan. Then, ito, amount natin. Close parenthesis. Yan. So, 250 siya. Total naman niya is 966.64 yung total payment niya sa first month. And ganyan yung babayaran niya every month. So, yung total niya is equal sign tayo dito. Then, this one plus 1. So, ganun lang siya. You can see parehas yung nakuha natin. 716.64 and 250 yung interest and 966.64 yung total. So, ganun lang siya. Hanggang umabot tayo ng 60. So, yun nga. Sabi doon, pag tumataas yung repayment, bumababa yung interest. Pansinin natin na sa first month, Meron tayong 716.64 na principal and yung interest niya is 250. And sa last month of repayment, tumaas siya, naging 961 pero bumaba naman yung interest charge. As you can see, parehas lang yung binabayaran nila. Yung total na binabayaran, 966. Ayun. Ganun lang si principal, ganun lang competency principal and in. Thank you.
Earlier, good day everyone. And earlier it was already discussed how to calculate the total interest cost. And here is the part 2. Another way to calculate the total interest paid on a loan is to sum the various IPMT values over the life of the loan. You can do that by using an array formula that generates the value of the IPMT functions per argument. And here is the general formula. So just remember this formula and make sure that you put the correct amount or data in order for it to work and in order for you to get the correct amount that you're looking for. The array of per values is generated by the following expression, this one. And the indirect function converts a string range reference into an actual range reference, and then the row function returns the row numbers from that range. By starting the range at A1, this expression generates integers values from 1 to n per, which covers the life of the loan. So meaning the indirect function converts a text string like A1 is still 60 into an actual range of cells, and the row function returns the row numbers for that range, which represents the payment period or the months or years. And together, they help calculate things like loan payments over multiple periods. So here is the example of the formula given above. The array formula doesn't work if the loan includes a balloon payment. This is because an array formula assumes a regular and equal payments throughout the loan term, and the balloon payment being a large sum at the end doesn't fit into this structure, so the formula can't account for it correctly. So let's try to use this formula to calculate the total interest cost. And here we have the figure given on the figure 18.4. We have the interest rate of 6%, the periods 5, the principal 10,000, and we have the monthly payment of 193.33. And the total loan cost is 1,599.68. And we will try to get the total interest cost by using the given formula. So let's just copy it. And we'll start. So just remember and don't forget to put the equal sign and the word sum because that's what we are getting, and this won't work if you don't put this too. Sum. After that, we'll just try to copy the formula IPMT and the rate. The rate is the fixed rate of interest over the term of the loan. It was already given here, so let's just look at and then over the term of the loan, which is 12. And then let's copy again. And NPER. NPER is the number of payments over the term of the loan, which we can find here in B3. B3 times 12, term of the loan, then close, and then enter again, B3 times 12, and then the last one, the PV, which is the loan principal. As you can see, it's already in here, the 10,000 before, and then we'll close it. Then click the enter, and there you have it, 1,599.68. We got this amount as the total interest cost, and that's it.
Good day, everyone. I am Lisa, and I am going to talk about how to calculate cumulative principal and interest. So before that, let me just read the text here. Knowing how much principal and interest you pay each period is useful, but it's usually more often handy to know how much principal or interest you've paid in total up to a given period. Of course, analyzing principal and interest help the borrowers to make smart financial choices, and they can also minimize their debt and improve their overall financial health. So here, for example, if you sign up for a mortgage with a 5-year term, how much principal will you have paid off by the end of the term? So, pataas ng pataas yan, depende sa interest and sa term. Similarly, a business might need to know the total interest payments a loan requires in the first year so that it can factor the result into its expense budgeting. So usually businesses loan for to fund its operation, for expansion, and any other reason. Pero here, of course, it is very crucial for them to know how much interest payments, how much principal they will pay in the first year, second year, up to the end, so that they can strategize or plan their expenses. So we could have solved this kind of problems by building a model that uses the PPMT and IPMT functions. But I believe we already encountered this a while ago, so I'm just going to introduce to you the two new functions that offer a more direct road. This is the cumulative principal and the cumulative interest payment. So we are all already familiar with the rate, the number per period, the principal value. So we also have here the new yung start period and end period, and of course the type. Kasi yung pagkakaiba ng PPMT and IPMT with the cumulative principal and cumulative interest payment is yung sa start period and end period. Since kapag cumulative, we're going to compute mula nung umpisa. So, mula nung umpisa hanggang sa end period. So, from the word cumulative, yung naipon, yun yung kukumputin natin. So, enough of this. Let me demonstrate to you here how how we will do this. So, for a while, palakayin natin to, and I'll demonstrate it to you. So, same lang doon. We have loan payment analysis, interest rate of 6% for 5 years, and the principal is 10,000. So, magkano ang monthly payment natin? So, ulitin lang natin. We will use PMT, usual equals, then PMT, open parenthesis, then we'll follow this, the rate, 6%. Of course, we'll divide it into 12. Again, the number per period, 5 years, then multiply it to 12, then present value, our principal is 10,000, then 0 as our number. So we have 193.23. So, the thing is, magkano ang cumulative principal nito? Yung at cumulative interest ng year 1 to 5. So, we'll use the formula, the cumulative principal and cumulative interest payment. So first, let's have the cumulative principal. So, gagamitin natin. So, usual equal sign, then open parenthesis. We have, we have principal, then open parenthesis. So we have the rate, then we'll divide it into 12. Next, we have the number period of the 5, then multiply it into 12 again. Then we have the principal, 10,000. Then here's the new. We'll add open parenthesis for the start period. So for start period, we'll click the year 1. Then without 1, close parenthesis, then multiply it again to 12 months. Then add 1. So this is the first month. Now, let's go to end period. So for end period, again, click year 1, then multiply it into 12. So the type is the end period 0, then 3. So we have negative 1,768.03.1672. So let's try to drag it down or double click. So it error kasi we forgot to add the dollar sign. So it's very important to remember para hindi kayo mahirapan. Mag-add kayo ng dollar sign para kapag dinrag natin is tuloy-tuloy siya at hindi siya mag-error. So, let's add here. Nangyari dito. No. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, my God. Yeah. So, dollar sign before and after. Here. Then, dollar sign before and after. Dito din sa principal value. Yan. So, ganun lang din. Then, double click. Ayan. So, we have the cumulative principal for year 1 to year 5. So, let's have the cumulative interest naman. So, same figure lang. Ganito lang din yung gagamitin natin. Pero, we'll replace it to cumulative interest payment. So, I'll just paste it here. Then, usual, equal sign, cumulative interest payment. Then we have negative 551.9045111. So, check it down. Yan, ito na tayong cumulative interest for year 1 to 5. Then total, magkano ang babayadan natin for year 1? Equal sum, open parenthesis, for this plus this. We have 2,319.93618 ang babayadan natin for year 1. Kasama na ang interest at principal. So, double click. So, para-paras lang din. So, let's see if na-cover na natin yung 10,000 for 5 years. Dapat ito, sum ng year 1 to 5 is palabas natin ng 10,000. So, 1 to 5. Ang sum natin ay nito. Ito. So, we have get it 10,000. Napalabas natin. Then, naman, sum of this. And we have 1,599.680918. So, ang total na babayaran natin for 5 years ay 11,599.6809. So, that's how you compute the cumulative principal and cumulative interest.